Alright, so today, I took one trade, one pretty big trade. So I did some things right, I did some things wrong, so let's go over it. So basically, if you watched the other videos lately, I've been thinking this was sort of going to be like accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution to go take out buy side. So when that didn't happen, then we took this out overnight at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we came back down. I was still thinking like this might hang on to the manipulation move, and then we might have big displacement up, like pull back to a higher time frame, sort of fair value gap, to then go run out all of this buy side. But I'm guessing at this point, like today was crazy with the market like manipulation later on in the day. So I'm assuming we're just gonna keep retracing until we hit like maybe discount of this range or something like that, before coming back up and running all this buy side at some point. But regardless, so going into the day, we had London low, London high, right? We had a big move down in the London session. And looking at ES, we had the same thing. We came down and swept that low. So then in the morning session, zooming in a bit, let me just remove this. So this low that was created in London session, right, the London low, we came down and took that on NQ, and we were like nowhere near taking that on ES. Very obvious SMT here. So I was thinking, alright, with that AMD model, we still might hold on to that. This might become seek and destroy, right? London session basically took out Asia high and low. It's not the cleanest, but Asia high low got taken, and then New York sessions taking out London low. We might go see London highs. So zooming in a bit more, so we have this SMT here. Zooming in, I really thought we were just gonna like absolutely rip to the upside. Definitely, my entry was terrible. So first off, I marked out consequent encroachment of this 1 minute wick. So that's what this gray line is. And then zooming in a bit further, let's go to the 30-second. Let's just go over here. So I see us rallying to the upside. I was so zoomed in here. But I'm looking at like this 30-second inverse. I'm looking at the 15-second, seeing that we came above, we held this inverse and then bounced. So I was thinking like, oh, this 15-second fair value gap, like this is what's just going to spark the move. So zoomed in here, honestly. But I was kind of thinking that like this here was going to become low resistance liquidity, and we were just going to kind of rally up and then never sort of return here. Again, I shouldn't be like trying to predict the market. I should just be reacting to the market. So this entry was me sort of like predicting that we were just going to bounce here and not come back to this low, which I shouldn't have done. So I entered in basically like right at this candle when we like came to the bottom of this 15-second, and then like came right back up. I pretty much entered and like right over here, and I put my stop a couple ticks below consequent encroachment, and instantly just straight all the way down. I was like, alright, I'm just gonna get stopped out. We're just gonna manipulate this low and then possibly have the market structure shift on like a 5-minute time frame. So I was like, wow, I'm way too zoomed in. We ended up holding consequent encroachment, rallying up, coming back down to whatever, like OT this range or something. Yeah, so I think, we were just holding maybe this range the whole time. Either way, we were just not taking out this low. And I was definitely skeptical. I was thinking this might become, a low resistance liquidity run to the downside to form the manipulation here before going higher. But then, what a surprise, right after 10 o'clock, the macro hits, boom, huge displacement up. You have your silver bullet fair value gap here. So we end up holding this for the most part. And I think zooming in, the best entry that you could have gotten was either you just sort of long on the silver bullet, or you wait for an internal model. We come down, I guess this is probably OTE of this range. I guess a little bit below it. But you have a deep retracement, and then we're chopping, take this most recent low, bounce, and then you have all of these inverses on the side, or all these fair value gaps that become inverse. So you could have taken a long here, right as we start to pull back into this area, much tighter stop. I was even thinking, is there an opportunity for me to add to this position? Because once we formed this big displacement move in the silver bullet, I was pretty confident that we were going to hold this. But my entry, that we were coming into deep into the red again here. There's no way, even if I entered another position here. Now I have a 15-point stop, and then a 13-point stop. I'm still adding 10 points onto my risk, so I can't do that. That I just entered at a poor spot. It would have made more sense if I had I don't know, maybe entered somewhere in this fair value gap. My stops here, and then I enter another contract, and I'm able to cut my stop loss in half. Where I'm not really adding to my risk, and I have sort of a position here, and then I enter another here, and I get to pull them both up. Something like that would make sense, but there was no shot I was going to add to this position since my entry was so disgusting. So regardless, we end up bouncing from there, and we held this 5-minute fair value gap. And we continued to rally to the upside, and I really was thinking I might put my stop at London High, and I was just well, we have a 1-hour fair value gap here, a 4-hour fair value gap. We have the this 8:30 high here. This is already over 60 points was my take profit. I had it a couple ticks above here. Expecting that we had some highs here, we were just going to kind of run into this fair value gap a little bit. And I was all right, what am I thinking? That's so greedy. Let me just take my profit. This is already a fat move. I'm trading 1 micro. You know what I mean? This is a large move. There's absolutely no reason I should leave this on at all. So took my profit right there, which was a great place to take profits, because ES ended up coming ticks away from, or 1 tick away from taking London High. And then we formed this SMT here with NQ, clearly making a higher high. ES just stopped in its tracks, and that's sort of when I realized, I was like, oh, this is just going to be more manipulation. Like, we're not going to go take out these highs. This is just going to be more buy side, because we literally stopped dead in the tracks, SMT, and then just failed. Like, right after having a huge expansion move, just failed right before the high. So, I'm trying to start to catch on to these things, since I'm like seeing a lot of these highs not get taken lately. Every rally I'm a little suspect of, because it just seems like we're going to generate more buy side. And in the lunch session, there was actually a great short opportunity, but I was still long biased. I still thought we were going to come back to this huge imbalance and have another push forward or push up. But we ended up having that SMT. We held those bearish imbalances, displacement down, 1 minute fair value gap. Ended up having a little bit of drawdown, but your stop would have at least been here, probably up at the highs. And it had a good flush down to this low-hanging fruit area. And if you had any runners down here, you probably would have gotten stopped out at break even or something. And we had SMT at the lows down here, as you can see. Big push up. And then I guess SMT at the highs. Like, ES took out lunch high, NQ did not. So I guess that's your SMT there. Another push to the downside. So yeah, I guess I guess there was probably opportunity. We have these bearish imbalances here, these fives. I'm sure there's a 15-minute. So 15-minute, we come up, reject, take this high. I guess this looks like a really good opportunity, actually. Take out this high, displacement, 1 minute, you could short here. I'd probably just be targeting this most recent low. I probably would have gotten stopped out at break even here. I actually would have definitely gotten stopped out right here, right before it flushes to the take profit. That's how it's just so manipulated. Like, I'm sure that's exactly what the the algorithm was doing. It was just hunting stop losses here. You did have this fair value gap, I guess, but if I was 7-8 points away from take profit and we just took this low, I would have definitely moved my stop. To cover commissions, would have at least been there, probably, maybe somewhere over here. So that would have pissed me off a bit for sure. This is also right at the end of day too, so I wouldn't have. Yeah, this is after market close anyway. But yeah, so I ended up selling off. So let me just clear up my chart a little bit. It's a little nasty. Alright, so zooming out a bit. So what I have marked here are the different, like, I don't know what the different, like, percentages of this daily imbalance, this huge daily fair value gap. So I just have the 75%, the 50%, the 25% marked out. So I'm basically just bullish. I'm not really going to short into here unless it's like a very obvious looking model. But, like, we keep sweeping sell side and then, coming back down again. Like, I don't want to short after we took sell side inside of a daily fair value gap. That just sounds stupid. So I mean, maybe I'm just inexperienced, I guess, but I'm sort of looking for just internal buy models. I do expect that buy side to get ran at some point, but I guess realistically we do want to come to discount of this range. We have this OTE 1 hour. Of course that would be like a no-brainer long once we come down into here if we form some sort of internal structure that validates that. We also have on the daily this big volume imbalance. This whole area, it just looks disgusting on the daily chart. This whole like volume imbalance area that we just keep wicking off of. So we have another one of those volume imbalances there, so right in OTE as well. So I'm sort of just gonna form my bias by the day. Just gonna see what happens in the overnight. Pretty long bias though, just looking for sweeps of sell side, some SMTs, some displacement moves to target longs. And I guess I am going to be careful, and especially after today, I'm definitely going to ensure that I'm taking the low-hanging fruit objective, because it clearly we're just generating buy side. And the only time I'm going to start targeting, the higher time frame buy side levels is, if we have a higher time frame shift in market structure. Like I was looking at the 15-second chart. There's no reason I should be targeting up there. But if we had a, maybe on the 1 hour or the 15-minute, we have something like this, right? And now we have this big, like a big 1 hour fair value gap, something like this. It's like, okay, now I can, possibly look for some little internal model fair value gap to try to start, positioning myself, targeting the higher time frame draw. But, that's not happening yet. Probably won't happen in the next couple days. I don't know. We'll see. So, if you traded, hopefully you did a good job. Hopefully you made some money. If you made some mistakes like me, hopefully you jot them down, and we move on, try to get better each day. So, monetarily speaking, I did pretty well today, but I think my entry was pretty awful, and it's partially luck and partially the precision of ICT concepts, which is why I didn't get stopped out. I think the consequent encroachment, the ICT concept was valid, and we bounced off of that. But it was probably also luck, because we could have very easily came down another 2 points, stopped me out, had another manipulation move before going higher. So my entry was bad, very bad. So did some good things, did some bad things, and we move on to tomorrow. So if I take a trade tomorrow, same thing, I'll make another video. And with that, guys, peace out.